Robert.
Yo, what's shaking AC? I love
No,
those
I know.
hand gestures. You always got that going.
I know. I just feel like I have to do that when you say that. Say that. Now I noticed you have your glasses off, and sometimes I notice that you sneak them off right before I say Robert, even though you're supposed to pretend you don't know I'm going to say Robert.
Yep.
So what's going on with that? Why do you take your glasses off?
It's something I noticed that Ryan Reynolds does. Whenever you see him on screen in character, he's never wearing glasses. But when you see him off screen in a documentary like Welcome to Wrexham, and he's doing important things, he puts his glasses on, and I think it maintains the allure of like the sexiest man in the world. So that's what I kind of try to do.
Okay, I will move on from that topic because I have no idea where to go with that. Okay, well, we'll let the women send in their votes for
Okay.
the Ange and Rob Rants sexiest man alive.
Oh my God, how red is my face now?
Are you blushing? You're like, okay, I'm just gonna run with it, right? And we could pause and start over, but that's sort of a rule. We don't do that, right?
That's right, exactly.
Okay. Okay, so where do we go from here?
Well, tell me what's shaking in your world. What's been going on?
Okay, highlight of the week was I don't know if it's a highlight, but a fun thing is a recent roundtable which we talked about company charities, like having a corporate charity or a corporate cause that you support. And I brought it up because I wanted to hear, it was our planned topic, and at M&M back in the day we had that, and I'll just give you a little bit of context. So back in the earlier days of M&M, as things were starting to like really pick up in terms of number of franchisees in the system and all that, I think someone said to my dad, Mac, you should really think about having a corporate charity that you support. And he was doing all kinds of community stuff, but it was like, what if you pulled all franchisees efforts together? Imagine how much impact you could make. And so he got really excited about that, and he chose the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of Canada, which everyone always would ask, like, why did you pick that? Does somebody in the family have it? Or they whisper it to someone else. Does someone in the Voisin family have Crohn's and colitis? And no, actually, the reason that he chose that charity is kind of a cool thing, because people often wonder why people pick a charity, is because it's an underdog organization, and actually in Canada, it's Canadians have one of the highest incidences of Crohn's and colitis, but it's something that people don't want to talk about because like they call it a closet disease because it's a bowel disease, and so he wanted to bring attention to it. He's like, I know, like as much as the diabetes foundation or the heart and stroke or cancer and all those things are super important, they already get quite a bit of awareness, and I want to bring attention to something that that people don't know about. So over the years, between our annual charity barbecue day, golf tournaments, and various things, M&M raised over $29 million for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of Canada. So I think it's really an interesting concept that of whether or not you pool together and support a common cause as a franchise company, or let franchisees choose their own initiatives. And as much as I think it's great if they choose their own initiatives, it just feels like there's a bit of a missed opportunity for exposure and PR and awareness. So anyway, it was a very interesting roundtable. I'll pause there because I'm sure you have some thoughts going on in your head.
Yeah, I find that like these days, charitable and philanthropic work is such a like just a like baseline. Like you just have to be doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't know that that's really serving the initiative, because the feeling that I get is a lot of people see it as a baseline and they're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna donate to a charity, or yeah, every company donates to a charity, or everyone's doing something philanthropic, and it just sort of becomes just a part of life, right? And when you're faced with the opportunity that you don't have to do it, you probably don't do it. And so this sort of boils down to the culture of the company, where you're not doing this because it's baseline. You're not doing it because everyone else does it. You're not doing it because you're getting PR and exposure. You're doing it because you genuinely feel an obligation to help the less fortunate. Now, some companies may not have that as part of their core values, right? But if you do, you have to embrace it in its entirety, in its earnest, as a business owner that's leading the community, you have to share the wealth and help the less fortunate, because at any day you could be in their shoes, or maybe you once were, So when it comes to picking like a charity, I sometimes feel that it's better to do it corporate wise, as a company, right? Because if it's up to the franchisee, they might just bail on it. They'll be like, okay, if I get to pick, I just won't pick, or I'll just do something super easy just to get through it, which then begs the question as to whether they're right for your system, right?
Yeah.
But when it's something bigger and you come together as a team, it feels like there's way more, passion behind it. You're not just doing it alone. Hey, little franchisee over here, I'm helping somebody, right?
Yeah, and there's something exciting about, like I mentioned, the $29 million over the years. There's something kind of motivating for some people, at least, about that. Like, you can have an event and raise a few $100s, which is every penny counts. I truly believe with these things, but maybe you raise a few $100s for a local cause, but if you can bring all that together and over the year raise $1 million from one company for a certain cause, then there's also that ability to move the needle with that cause. So yeah, it's interesting. One of the big takeaways was, and I can relate to this back in the day of my being a franchisee and being in the field, is making it as easy as possible, so that at least those people that, like you say, aren't so into it, maybe can do it. So whether that is their own, you supporting them to figure out a local cause that they're, because obviously if there's a local cause, they might be more bought in. I think I'd rather see a franchisee be really bought in on something local and make an impact than, just really low key get involved with our corporate thing and not make a difference. So, I guess that's the thing. Like, if whatever they're passionate about, they're going to do, but whatever it is, making it easy. And I know some companies will have, even we had the company charity, but you can still do whatever you want in your community. So if you wanted to support your, local food bank or women's shelter or anything like that, you certainly could also do that if you had that drive, which is great for franchising because it's giving back to the community and all that.
Yeah.
Want me to keep going? I have more thoughts.
Yeah, I'm just listening.
I just wanted to pause to give you a chance if there was something you wanted to say.
I mean, there's always something I want to say.
Okay. Well, anyway, let's move on. Okay. So so you touched on this already, but one of the other key takeaways is that in the recruitment process, it's a great way to get a sense of the potential motivation of the franchisee to be community oriented. So, asking in that process, like, what do you currently do to give back to your local community? Like, what volunteer activities are you involved with? Or if you could donate $1,000, what would you donate it to? Like, getting them thinking about it and then reading their reaction. And if you sense that they're like, it's something they don't ever think about, they're like, oh, I've never done that before or something, then that might be a bit of a red flag. So it's sort of twofold. It's one, setting them up for understanding like the expectations that, we are a company that gives back. It's part of our culture. And number two, then reading the reaction and trying to vet them out. So, but I know you've got franchisees that do some cool things in their communities.
Oh man, I mean, that's something that's part of our core values, is to get out into the community and
give back, right? Not just.
And it doesn't necessarily need to be like philanthropic or charitable from a financial standpoint. It's just
giving your time.
Yeah, giving time, bringing
go do that 10K run, or maybe not 10K, so not everybody does that, but like go do that 5K walk or whatever to support, and you can wear your company logo just to show that you're supporting it, and that's just time.
Yeah, it's time, it's services, it's products. It's not always just money, right? And it goes a long way to some people, like in this climate that we have right now, there's, more people struggling than there may have been in my entire generation from what I remember, So you got to do what you can to help.
Had to throw in a little frustration with anyway, we won't go there. Let's park that one. Okay. Well, let's wrap it up there.
Let's do it. All right.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go be awesome.